All right, so we've made this macro here in Blueprint to allow us to spawn in these actors in a circle formation. Let's take a look at how we can set up that same code in C++, just to see how something that we already understand in Blueprints can be translated into C++ just as a good learning exercise. So what I'm going to be doing here is coming up into Tools, and I'm going to be making a new C++ class. And we're going to make this from all classes a Blueprint function library. This is not going to be a macro because in C++ you don't really have Blueprint macros. So things are going to work slightly differently here. It's not going to have the same on-spawned output pin necessarily. You still can do that if you want to. It's just a little bit more cumbersome to set up. I actually have a video about how to add extra execution pins to a C++ function, which I'll try to remember to link in the description of this video if you're interested. But we're going to be doing this in a way that is just easier to set up and more straightforward within the context of C++. So we make a function library. Class type doesn't really matter. Let's just set it to public. And all right, so let's make the class. It's adding C++ code to this project, which was Blueprint only to begin with. And now we need to open it from the IDE. So I'll see you in a moment inside the writer. So here in C++, let's start by making the function. We first need to declare this as being a U function, which will be Blueprint callable, and we can give it a category. The category can be actor spawning, something like that. And then we need to declare it. So it's going to be a static function because we need to be able to call it from wherever, whenever, without it actually needing to rely on being called from a specific instance. Usually, most functions you call from a specific instance, of course. Static functions work the same way that you might be used to Blueprint functional library functions working, which is to say you can call them from anywhere. You don't need to call them on a specific object because you're calling them directly from the class itself. C++, you just declare that as static and then it allows you to do that. So in a Blueprint function library, if you're coding them in C++, effectively everything in there is always going to be a static function. Then it's going to be returning a T array of actors. Copilot actually knows what I'm trying to do here, which is nice. A T array is just a way in C++ to make an array. Everything with a T in front of it is a template type, which is more or less to say that this type understands what it means to be an array. It just needs to also be given in what type of array it needs to be. In this case, it's going to indeed be returning an array of a actor pointer. We'll give it a name, spawn actors in circle. Feel free to mostly ignore everything that Copilot is suggesting. We're going to go over this one thing at a time. It needs to take in pretty much the same inputs as our Blueprint version, which is to say we're going to be giving in an a actor for the owner. We're going to take in an integer for the amount to spawn. Keep in mind that if you're writing C++, you can't be using spaces in your variable names. You need to actually make them one word. So here the pattern of just capitalizing the first letter of each word is generally the way that you do that within Unreal, because Unreal automatically splits this up in Blueprint when it sees it written this way. It's actually going to display it in Blueprint like this. And we take in a float, if I can spell this properly, for the radius, a f vector, which is just what a vector is called in C++, for the origin point. And then we need to take in a T array again. So that's the array of classes that we're going to be putting in. And the way to make class references in C++ is with the T subclass of. So just like the T array, understanding that it is an array, but needing to be giving in what type of array it is, T subclass of is a type that understands, okay, I'm going to be giving in a class reference to something, and I need to be able to take in anything from this class or any of its children. So if we give this in the type A actor, it's going to be able to take in classes of type actor and everything below it. So pawns, characters, any of the Blueprint classes that you yourself made. So this works essentially the exact same way as this class to spawn thing did. And then that is the end of our declaration here. So we can add a semicolon. One thing that you might be getting messed up on, because I know that I all the time do, is we have two of these template functions here like nested in each other. So it's easy to forget that you do need to close this out properly with a second little one of these brackets. If you have a decent IDE, I can highly recommend Writer, but Visual Studio, VS Code, they all work just fine. They should actually highlight when you click on one of them what the corresponding like closing bracket for them is. So you can actually see like which one am I missing out on. Anyway, now that we have this, with Writer, you can just, at least with the setup as I have it, control and dot, and that'll give you generate definition in the CPP file that corresponds to this. Just a nice little shortcut. It just makes the definition for you. Otherwise, you just need to write out the entire function again, starting with the return type. Then you just give in the class name, double colon, and then function name with all the parameters inside of it. Again, most decent IDEs these days just have a way from the header file to just generate the CPP file, like actual implementation. Now, from here, what we're going to do is we're going to declare a local TRA of type A actor, and we'll call that spawned actors, because we're going to need to keep track of all that. At the very end, we will return spawned actors. In between, we're going to be populating it. So we write a for loop, we just do for, and making a for loop requires a little bit more inputs in C++ than just putting in a single node, but essentially everything will work the same way. So first we need to declare our iterator variable. So int I equals 0. That's just essentially declaring a variable for your index and giving it the first index value here. Then we put a semicolon, because that technically is the end of a single statement in C++. Then secondly, as it is very helpfully trying to suggest here, it's actually wrong. We need to set up the condition for the for loop itself, which is, in this case, I is less than our amount to spawn minus 1. You can actually double click the for loop in Blueprint and you can see that it is, it's actually checking less than or equal to in Blueprint. So we don't even need to do the minus 1 if we just check less than. If you want to do it the exact same way, you can do less than or equal to amount to spawn minus 1, but this and this essentially are the same thing. So as long as this is true, it's going to keep looping through our for loop. And then finally, the last thing in the for loop is just after every iteration of what we are going to write in the loop itself. Usually you just do I++, which just means increment I, our integer that we defined here, by 1. You can do this differently. You can do minus minus if you're counting down through something. You can do plus equals 10 if you're incrementing in steps of 10 through something for whatever reason. Since we're writing out the declaration, the condition, and the incrementer ourselves in C++, rather than just relying on a pre-set up for loop node, we can kind of be a little bit more flexible with it. Within here, we're going to be actually writing the loop code that we did before in Blueprint as well. And unlike the way that we did it in macros, where we just had a lot of spaghettiing all over the place, we can't just visually hook up values to each other in here. We need to do that through declaring them as local variables. So let's make a float. It's trying to suggest the angle. What I'm actually going to do is we're going to call this something like segment size, and that will be equal to this little section that we have down here. So that is pi multiplied by 2 divided by our amount to spawn. So how do we get pi in this case? That would be our Kismet math library. You may need to, again, depending on your IDE, might not be adding this automatically. You may need to do a hashtag include, and then in quotations, Kismet/Kismet math library.h, because we're now pulling a function from a different file that we're going to be using here. We do : because this actually what we're going to be doing also is a static function from this other file. So we don't need to have an instance of it. It works kind of the same way as the function that we're writing right now. It is a library function that is statically called on the class directly itself. That's what this : means. Anyway, this just has a getPy function, which is super nice. We can multiply that by 2, divided by the amount of spawn. And that's the segment size that we're working with here. And this can actually be done outside of the for loop itself, I'm thinking right now, because this is going to always remain the same, right? So this segment size is just something that we then multiply with our iterations. But this doesn't really need to be recalculated within the loop itself every single time. This C++ version is going to be running a little bit more efficiently because it only calculates this, and from this point onward, we just use this variable instead of the way we do it in Blueprint. Because it is chaining together a bunch of these pure nodes, it's actually recalculating this every single iteration. It's minor, it doesn't really impact things, but this is the kind of thing where you're just a little bit more mindful about that because of the way that you see things written out. Obviously, nothing that's impossible to do within Blueprint, but it just becomes a bit more apparent in written out code. By the way, we then make our float for our segment end, let's call it, and that will just be our segment size multiplied by I, which once again is just taking what we did here, multiplying it by our index, and then that is going to be multiplied by cosine and our radius to make x, sine and radius to make our y. So let's make our float x equals our origin x plus radius times fmath cosine segment end. That is entirely correct. Fmath, again, is a function library that just has a bunch of mathematics stuff in it. That one doesn't seem to need a explicit include because it's probably included within some other like parent of either the function library itself or probably the Kismet math library would make sense. Then we do the same thing for float y, just origin.y plus radius times fmath sine segment end. Then we can make the f vector for our spawning location, which will be the f vector with the x and the y we just made, and then just taking in the origin points z to make it width. So that makes all of this that goes into our spawning actor. Now also the rotation, again, we can do float angle per segment equals 360 divided by the amount to spawn. And then we can make a f rotator for the spawn rotation, which will be a f rotator with 0 and then our angle per segment multiplied by I and then 0. This is a little bit weird compared to how you would see this in Blueprint, because when you make a rotator in Blueprint, it gives you X, Y, Z, roll, pitch, and yaw in that order, where making it in C++, a rotator takes in pitch, yaw, roll in a different order. Yaw is the Z rotation. It's the up and down axis rotation. That's something that you need to be aware of. Again, having a decent IDE writer can highly recommend. I will actually just give you these little labels that tell you what the input names for these parameters are. So you can see, oh, hold on, the second one is yaw, not the third one. Now that we have the transform information, what we can do is we can use our owner here. So we can owner, use one of these little arrows. You use those arrows when you're working from a pointer rather than an actual instance. And then we can get world. So that gets us the world context from our owner actor. When we have the world, we can spawn actor with that. And if we hover over this, you can see spawn actor takes in the class that we're going to be spawning, the location, the rotation, and some spawn parameters. So the class that we're going to be spawning will just be, did I not give a name to this? I didn't give a name to this. Let's call this classes to spawn. That's my bad. You should give a name to your parameters. So otherwise you can't reference them, of course. Classes to spawn, add them in the C++ file as well. And we'll just get classes to spawn. And from this, we're going to need to get something random. And sadly, the TRA itself doesn't really support it picking anything at random. I believe there is a different library that would let you do that, but it's just easier to make an integer here for class index, which will just be fmath rand range from 0 to classes to spawn dot num, which is getting the length of that array minus 1. That'll just get us a random index, and then we can just use this class to spawn, and then within square brackets, put in that class index. So it's going to be picking something at random that way. And then it takes in a reference to our spawn location and rotation. It needs a reference instead of just a number. I'm not 100% sure why they would do it that way, but they do. So just this little ampersand sign before your variable makes it a reference. Essentially what you're doing is, instead of passing through the number itself, you're passing through the location of this number in memory, which I suppose just makes it a little bit more efficient than passing through the entire vector. Now, this gives us a return type of a actor. So let's actually make this a actor pointer. Call it spawned actor. So while this actor is being spawned, it's going to put the reference to it in this local variable here. Then after we're done spawning it, we can first and foremost, check if spawned actor is valid, which in C++ is a little bit more relevant than in Blueprint, because if you're trying to access a non-valid pointer, in Blueprint it's just going to give you an error. If you do that in C++, it does crash. So just getting used to putting in like these little validations is a good idea. And then we just do spawned actors, which is the array that we made up here. And we add to that our newly spawned actor. And that gets us to the end of our for loop, at which point it's going to do that again, and again, and again, and again. When it finishes, it just returns that array. So this is the entire function, start to finish, written in C++. Now, if I run this and it builds the project, we should now have a node available to us that does the same thing that we did in Blueprint, but written entirely in C++. And now here we're back in the project. So let's open up the actor that we made before. And instead of using this spawn actors in circle, we can do spawn actors in circle, which is the C++ function that we made. And we can just kind of like pull all this through. Owner will be self, amount to spawn will be 5 again, radius will be 250, the origin will still be the origin, and the class to spawn will be the class to spawn. The only difference being is that these actors being spawned obviously now don't have an execution pin out for every single one that's spawned, because it just outputs them all within a single array. Aside from that, everything here should pretty much still be the same. The upside to this, by the way, is because it is now in a Blueprint function library, as long as we have a reference to an actor that's going to be the owner of whatever we're spawning in, this can now also be called from non-actor objects. So if you have a gameplay ability, for instance, that is a non-actor object, this can now be called on that as well. All you need to make sure is that it actually is given in an actor as the world context. And just to show you that it still works the exact same way, I'll walk over this and it spawns everything in perfectly fine.